Hello friends, I'm so excited to come to you today to introduce one of my dear friends, longtime friends actually. She's been friends with my family for an enormous amount of time. This is Peggy Beckett. She's incredible. Something excited we've been talking about recently is bringing you some continuing education classes that you're going to be able to see each and every month that's going to really help develop your understanding of how to be implementing essential oils into your lifestyle. So I actually wrote down and have a list of some of your credits, and I'm going to gush over you for a minute. So Peggy is not only a registered nurse, but a licensed healthcare administrator. Her work history has included like 45 years of healthcare management, dealing with services like acute care, rehabilitation, long-term care, hospice, home-assisted living, retirement living, it goes on and on and on. And she's also a fellow with the American College of Healthcare Administrators. And she also teaches lots of workshops on healthy living for local communities and churches, and for oily people like us. I guess the best place to start then, Peggy, is what made you kind of move to a more natural approach with your health?
Well, health itself. Like everybody else, I became a fast food junkie.
Yes.
It fit my lifestyle at that time because I was working full time. I was head of a corporate facility, and my mother had Alzheimer's. So I had promised her that I would help her stay at home. So I would work my 8 hours, drive 60 miles to my mother's house, oversee her medicines, change whatever needed to be changed in her routine. My sister and my father were there to do the hands-on, but I still had to adjust the medicine approach, that sort of thing. This went on for 5 years. And at the end of 5 years, I was a wreck. After my mother's funeral, I just sort of crashed. And I went to my personal friend, who was also my personal physician. And I told him, I said, I just feel awful. And he said, well, you don't look too good, so let's see. We're friends.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So he said, let's start and just go through a series of tests and see where we are. And as he did that series of tests, I sat in his office and I thought, he thinks I'm sick. And you could tell by his facial expressions and the way he was looking at the test results, this was not good. I had GI disturbances, pre-ulcer, cardiac issues where I was out of rhythm, I had terrible cholesterol. And then he says, oh, by the way, your kidneys are full of kidney stones. And I thought, great. As a nurse, I know how those go. And it just went on and on. Every system was wrecked. And I began to think, how in the world did I get in this situation? And I started going back to my basic research, my basic knowledge of how the body functions. And I realized I messed up. It was inadvertently, because you don't purposely set out to say I'm going to wreck my health, but I did. And so I had to back up, look where I was, and start doing approaches to make myself better. The very first thing I learned is that I had filled my body full of chemicals. When you eat processed food, when you jump into all of these little gimmick things that they give you, this will help you lose weight, this will help you adjust your antacids, and all of this, you find out that you're just filling your body full of chemicals. And my body did not react well to all of that. It was saying, oh no, this is not working. And so one by one, I began to drop things off and go to a more natural approach. This was rather dramatic. I had some help from my friend your mother,
Yes.
who
Sharon.
was into natural health.
Mm-hmm.
And she came over and practically threw everything in my kitchen away.
She's a hippie.
I thought my husband was going to have a heart attack because she says, this goes, this goes, this goes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I learned to start going, again, back to the basics, reading labels. If you can't understand it, get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my passions has always been to understand medicine. Now, my great-grandmother was Cherokee Indian, and she was a healer. All the people in the neighborhood would come and knock on Granny's door, and they would have everything from cuts and scratches to belly aches to children with thrush and other illnesses. And she would go to her herbs that she kept on the back porch, pick up something. Sometimes she'd put it in water and boil it. Sometimes she'd just crush it. I watched her do these things that did not come from a medicine cabinet.
Yeah. So
I began to look and see, well, just exactly how has natural medicine worked? You know, before penicillin, before aspirin even, there were yarrow, and there was lavender, and there was chamomile. And I started watching how these things helped people. And it was more than cooking, it was healing.
Yeah, it was the chemistry of these
Right.
herbs that was working with our body.
Exactly,
That's really cool.
exactly. And it gave it what it naturally needed.
Mm-hmm.
So as I began to sort of reconcile that reading with what I was feeling and what was going on, I realized, you know, this body was meant to use these natural things. Without getting in anybody's religion, I can say, in the Garden of Eden, God says all these plants, all these trees, all this stuff is yours to use and to eat. And you'll do well. Sometimes those small phrases are very big.
Right.
And a lot of these modern medicines today actually have their root in the naturals.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a very easy transition then for me to move into natural, and I had just a marvelous outcome. After 8 months of doing all natural, remember, she threw everything out of my kitchen.
Yes.
And I went back to my doctor, and when I walked in the office, he looked at me, he said, "You look better." I said, "Well, I feel better." So we did all those tests over again. My cholesterol, remember now, I've been eating antioxidants, strong, natural food. My good cholesterol was 5 times the bad. My blood pressure was okay. My weight had dropped. But most of all the chemical things that record how your heart's doing, the heart rate, the heart proportions, and the kidney output, and all of this were normal.
Great.
So that told me, you're onto something here. This is a better way. And from that point on, you know, you're like a reformed alcoholic. You want to tell everybody, hey, this works.
Yeah.
And again, later in my life, my friend Sharon says, you know, you like herbs, you like natural foods and all this. Let me tell you about essential oils.
Mm-hmm.
And when you think about it, if you're proud to use lavender and grow the plant in your yard, and somebody has an essence of that plant, and they say, you can have this, it's pure, and one little drop is going to take care of a field of lavender plants. That was enough to convince me that I needed to take my friends that I knew and use the oils and see how it worked. For me, it was a good journey.
I'd like for you to share with our friends kind of your philosophy on health in just like a few minutes.
Okay. I think you would have to go back to my understanding of who we are as people. I believe that all life is a gift from the Creator, and it's supposed to be lived with fullness. You're supposed to live it to the best, to the limit, and with thanksgiving. In order to do that, you're going to have to figure out how your body best works and what you can best do to make it work. As a nurse, I learned that every single molecule in your body works in perfect synchronization with every other molecule. Now that's a statement, and you think, okay, but how does that play out? It means that if you mess up one molecule, then you've messed up many molecules. One organ goes bad, it's just like dominoes. They start, all of them were going to be affected if you don't do something about that first defect. A word that everybody can relate to is balance. You want to keep the whole body in balance.
Yeah.
And if you can manage to do that, then it's going to function like it's supposed to. Our bodies, I believe, and I've come to believe this more and more over the years, are created to heal themselves. They will try their very, very best. Now, if the damage is too great, if it's been going on too long, many times you're going to have outside interventions. But if you can help this balance process stay balanced, then you're going to go a long way toward health for yourself.
I love that. That's so good. And, it's something like I remember hearing at some of our essential oils classes too, of like, your body is made to heal and repair itself and like to be really incredible. And oils are just a tool, like a tool set that you can use that works hand in hand with your body to reach that balance, to get back to
it gives it that natural ingredient that will help it have a kickstart and get in there and get balanced. Something that is I think of right off is cinnamon. Cinnamon's in everybody's kitchen, but if you take cinnamon oil and maybe just a drop or a stir stick in your tea every day, you're going to take a step toward lowering your blood sugar.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of people do that
friends.
Because they see it as a weight loss.
It's going to be just a small thing that makes such a huge difference in like the long term.
Exactly.
And that's priceless. I think we talked too about like there's a wealth in being healthy.
Right.
That it can't be even purchased in many ways.
I like to call this oil approach, as we've talked about, gaining wealth in health. And you're going to save money in the long run, because if you run out and you buy every advertised medicine, those dollars can be so much better invested if you take a natural approach, give your body what it needs. It may take a little longer because it's actually changing, it's actually working.
Because you're addressing those root causes that like maybe you're not going to see it overnight. It's going to maybe take a couple of days. It's going to take a couple of weeks. It's of consistency.
Several months before you see good results.
But if you're really, I think, in the mindset to pursue and desiring health for yourself, then that's really the only option.
True.
This Gaining Wealth and Health series that we're going to be doing, we're going to be starting with the building blocks. What can everyone expect over the next couple of months? I know the classes are going to be about 15 minutes each. We're going to be like one a month, but like give us an idea of what to expect in the next couple of.
I hope that I can share with you how your body works. We'll begin with the nervous system, actually, because that's the way we're created. The nervous system comes first. And we will build on each system, talking about how that works, how it synchronizes with everything else in your body, and what you can do to take practical steps to get your wealth and health. Spend your dollars where they count the most in gaining real health.
And oftentimes probably with things that they already have in their own little oily medicine cabinets, and giving them really practical steps. Like today with the cinnamon, I'm going to start doing that. That's great. But for those of us who can't wait until we get started next month, do you have a practical tip for us to begin right now as we prepare learning about these building blocks and gaining wealth and health?
If we're going to look at the body and how it works, I think a good place to get started is with the vitamins. You need a balance. You need to create a line for yourselves to march forward. You know, if you're getting ready for a race or whatever, there's certain things that you do to get in this race, to get ready for it before you ever run the first step. And before you take this journey for life building blocks, before you step into using the essential oils to gain you this wealth and health, you need to start with the basics, and that would be with the Lifelong Vitality Pack.
Those are really transformational for me, and I know I run into people a lot of times though that are like, ooh, that's financially a huge commitment for me. But I actually ran the numbers because I wanted to help many of you who are my actor friends working part-time jobs to understand what financially and fiscally it boils down to every day. And it essentially will boil down to, if you're only taking a half dose, which is maybe where you need to start, you got to start somewhere. If you're only taking a half dose, it's like $1 a day for 2 months. And like, I think that's really doable for most of us. If your health is really important to you, I think $1 a day is worth investing in your health.
Well, if you've listened to all the commercials, you're probably taking vitamin D, vitamin E, you've got fish oil sitting up there, and you've got the CQ10, and you're looking at all these things that I need to take. That's a lot of pills to swallow every day. And if you look at the Lifelong Vitality Pack, which I have, it has all of that in it.
That's so great.
So
it's transformational for those
concise,
who are taking it.
Right.
Yeah. And anyone who's ever taken me up on it and has like tried it, they love it, and like they can see a difference like really, really quickly. Well, Peggy, I'm so excited. You're just such a wealth of knowledge. I can't wait to learn more in our Gaining Wealth and Health with Peggy Beckett. I hope you guys are as excited as I am to get started, and we'll be starting with the neurological system next month.
See you soon.
Bye, guys.